the description that you shared with me recently about your record label, it was 3 words: metal, women, Spain. I love it. You can't get any clearer than that. Tell me about those 3 things and why it's important, why they're important for your record label.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think one of the last things you had sent through the email was about the mission statement.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is something that I have in mind, but I have not written it down. But yeah, I will use your template as a lot of others that I already.
I think you already have a mission statement. It's just that metal, women, Spain.
Exactly. That's my mission statement.
It's very clear.
Well, concerning metal, the genre, I think it was very clear from the very beginning. Is the one I feel more comfortable, the one I love the most. And also in Spain, there is not so much metal music, so there is a lot of course, mainstream, but also what we call indie is like an alternative pop rock, and that's all. And also, it's just to simplify. But metal, it was not so much music being done in vinyl. So yeah, that was the first.
That's a good opportunity for you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. And so what is metal a broad term? Like, do you feel like you have a subgenre, or do you represent a lot of different subgenres of metal?
Yeah, so but it was a natural evolution because, well, at the very beginning it was hardcore or just some hard rock. But right now, well, not right now, I have a wide genre of sub-genres, metal sub-genres like alternative metal, progressive metal. So there are a lot of things that are just, well, like a tree just going on, that is so amazing to just discover this kind of other ramifications, I can say that.
Yeah. So going back to your mission statement, your these 3 words, are they all equal to you, or do you kind of say we're about women first, or we're about metal first, or we're about where we're from first? Like, is that all equal, or do you kind of rank them?
First it was metal, but when I just released a vinyl of a band that it was a full woman band, I realized that it was even metal. It was not very much work in Spain, per se, but women, it was even more specific. It were more rare. I have to dig into that more. So and from then I started to work with a lot of women. Yeah, it's not exclusive. It's not a prerequisite. It's very a natural evolution as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we always talk about on here about being really specific with what you do and what you're about and who you represent, and make it, and in a way that's just so much easier for fans to identify with a specific record label. And so, those things are just so meaningful. I mean, it's because metal isn't the primary genre in Spain. And then I don't think women in metal has been as prominent over the past 30 years as men in metal. So those 2 things right there, I just think must attract a lot of fans, but also other musicians who want to be on your label.
Yeah, of course. And it's increasing little by little. Yeah. Because as we are growing with the bands I am working with, the very beginning is what it was me, the one looking for new bands. But right now I have, a lot of proposals in my email. I'm also searching for that, so I am also looking for new bands. But it's true that right now there is a lot of bands that are coming to me, and they are not specifically metal. They are, let's say, indie, folk. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. They like or they love the way we do things. I don't know. Yeah.
Are you interested in doing things outside of metal?
Yeah, for sure. I'm already doing things. Yeah.
Okay.
For example,
that's cool.
I'm starting to work with a very young lady, and she's doing R&B. R&B.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like
I mean,
Lauren Hill, like Beyonce. But yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you are branching out from that sound a little bit.
Yeah, I'm exploring the infinities because I also realize that young people are not very much interested in metal.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a way to just, I don't know, to maybe if young people find out there's this kind of they discover the LaRubia is the name of my record label. They
good.
discover just through a R&B artist, and they realize there are other metal bands there, and they maybe would be interested in metal genre. So why not?
No, that's interesting. So tell me the history of your label. How far does it go back? What was the beginning of the label?
Well, I started in 2017, so 7 years, almost 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was, at the very beginning, it was very do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
So it was co-releasing with other record labels. It was very underground. It was no contracts, no publishing, licensing things, no digital platforms. It was very, very underground. But step by step, it was growing. Because my interest in that and also my passion on that also grew. And it was, and also I have another life, another that pay my bills. Fortunately, but it was 2 years ago. I reached a point that I decided to just divide things and just stopping with the normal life or the gray area model life. So I have not so much bills to pay right now.
Yeah.
So I just go in to the music side of
That's
life.
amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. That's a big step.
Yeah.
It's
and
daunting.
So there is when I just started seriously or just releasing. I just create a public limited company. So I also start. This is why when I found you. So I start to do things more properly, if I may say, or more legally adjust. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So then in 2017, what community were you a part of when you started the label? Was it a metal label at the time? Like what gave you the confidence to start a label?
Yeah, well, friends, just some friends that also already have this kind of do-it-yourself record labels.
Yeah.
And I started with actually in another record label with 3 friends. But at the end, I decided, and they were the one tell me that, why don't you just open your own record label?
Yeah.
Why not? And
what does the name mean?
Sorry?
The name of the label, LaRubia. What does that mean?
LaRubia is also have to do a lot with the mission statement. It's blonde. Like the air, LaRubia is the blondie, like blondie.
Oh, okay.
How do you call it? So it's LaRubia in Spanish is a person that is blonde.
Oh,
with the air
okay.
long.
So what's the meaning behind that?
First of all, I love Blondie, the band.
Okay, that's simple enough.
And also, there is a lot of, I don't know, jokes or misunderstandings, at least in Spain, with
Yeah.
blonde people that are,
Okay.
well, dumb people, silly people. So, yeah, I love the way I used to be blonde. Right now, I have gray hair, but so it was a mix of all of these
Yeah.
things.
Okay,
And
that's a
also because in metal, it was, I don't know, violence in the veins, sludge on drums. I don't know. It was the names or other labels.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no blood and dust. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
So
no, I'm the blonde. Why not?
I mean, that's funny,
Yeah.
right? Because metal and punk have always been counterculture, and now you're being contrarian within metal. You're going against. I think that's awesome because you're right. Because a lot of metal stuff is dark and spooky and violent, and so you're doing the opposite. There's there's no rules that say you have to have a name like that. I think that's awesome.
Well, it
What
was
is
a
running
little
a
bit risky as well. Sorry.
It is risky. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What is running a record label in Spain like? I'm very, very curious.
Well, I guess that, well, as I read the your Facebook group, and also in just newsletter letters, I think it's more or less the same. It's
It's
not
the
so
same. That's
different
cool
than
to
in
hear.
other
Yeah.
countries. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there are big, the big labels are there. The independent labels are there, and there are also small and medium. So I think
Yeah.
it's more or less the same. I think that the only different, but this is the in general in Europe, I think, is about publishing and licensing, because of the legal framework is not the same. It's quite different.
Okay.
But yeah, I think just dealing with the vinyl makers, or yeah, I think it's more or less the same.
Are you exclusive to artists from Spain? Like, do you only want to sign artists from Spain?
No,
No.
actually,
No.
I do have, well, it's half Spanish. She's living in Edinburgh, in
Okay.
UK,
Yeah.
in Scotland. Um, she's living there, so she is most the month. But she also have a band with his partner that he's Scottish, and
Mm-hmm.
also a German drummer. So this is my
Okay. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
most international band.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's good.
um, my idea is just to just have bands. I don't know. I have good friends in other European countries that are record labels, and I mean, I'm really looking forward to have a co-release.
Yes. Well, I want to ask you about that a little bit later. But I just on the topic of Spain, and I was curious if all of your releases are English speaking or if some are in Spanish. Because I was listening, and it's hard to tell in metal. They're just screaming. I couldn't tell what language it is. Are they? How much of what you release is English?
I don't know. I think there are a lot of them that are speaking in Spanish. For example, Santo Rostro always sing in Spanish. My biggest band is Bonzo Minerva. They started in the second album to sing in Spanish.
Okay.
And well, I don't know if it was by hazard, but the song that is Fuego, that is fire,
Yeah.
is the most listening one. So in
Okay.
Europe, or even in the States. So yeah.
So that's what I was curious about. Does it matter? Like, does English do better? Does Spanish do fans care?
I don't know. There is it's like a fashion. I think sometimes all the bands are singing in English because it's fancy.
Yeah, right.
And afterwards, Spanish comes again, and
Yeah,
then English.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think for for the bands, I guess it depends on how they feel about the composition, and yeah, but they are even changing in the bands I work with. Yeah.
I know a lot of smaller countries. It's true for here in Canada, and I'm wondering if it's true for you in Spain. The government is very keen to promote local music and to help, national musicians get a better footing and get more exposure in the rest of the world. I don't think, America doesn't have as much, but I know that smaller countries do. Do you have support from the government or grants or funding that is accessible to you?
I am chasing that. Yes, they
It's
are.
hard,
A lot
right?
of there are well, not so. Yeah, there are quite few. I don't know, allowance or
Yeah.
grants. Yeah, that are around. But until now, I have no able to to opt for one. But yeah, there are. Uh, some of them just treat it like the export trade. So they just, in order to boost the trade, the
Yeah.
international trade, they just, music is a product, so they
That's
just
right.
act like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also the Ministry of Culture every year just offer some grants, but it's very difficult to get that access to that. So, but yeah. Every year I try. Maybe next time, who knows?
It's the same. It's the same thing here in Canada. It's very difficult to get, and it requires a lot of paperwork and a lot of writing applications, and a lot of artists just end up giving up because you get one shot a year or one shot, 3 or 4 times a year, and it's difficult.
Yeah, red
But it's
tape.
nice that it's there.
Red tape is very
Yes.
a disadvantage. Yeah.
What is your label's strategy with because you said running a record label in Spain is the same, and I can speak to that's true too for Canada. Running a record label in Canada, we essentially just pretend that the whole world, or certainly Europe and the US is all, and Australia in a way is we're pretty much all connected through email. It doesn't really make a difference. Do you have a specific strategy for promoting your music throughout the rest of Europe, some other countries, perhaps where metal is, maybe in Scandinavia where metal is popular? Do you have like kind of your go-to way of promoting to those countries or to America, or are we all just doing the same thing?
Well, I'm starting to improve this part because I think distribution, but also promotion is key for all of the bands. But for example, here in Bandcamp is it's a very good channel.
Yeah.
I sell a lot through Bandcamp.
Great.
All over the world. And also playing in other countries is key. For example, Germany in Europe is, if you want to be in the metal scene, you have to play in Germany.
Okay.
And in small venues, in festivals. There is also some important festivals in UK.
Yeah.
That is a very good strategy to for the band to play there. And afterwards, the movement of vinyls start usually.
I want to ask about vinyl because you do great vinyl work. But one of the things I noticed on your website first was artist services, like some sort of like label services. I'm just curious. I love to see that, but I'm curious, is this what you offer the people you sign to your label, or do you do like consulting for artists who aren't necessarily signed to your label as well?
Well, as I say, I started seriously 2 years ago, and I am trying to find out what is the way to help artists better, but also to be not profitable, but at least sustainable,
Yeah.
as they said. But this, what I like the most is to go with the band in all the way.
Right.
So not just the releasing the vinyl, but also kind of management, consultancy. But it depends on the band, because sometimes they just prefer to go on the way. Just they just want the record by.
Yeah. Oh,
But
I
it's
see.
not usually the case, but sometimes happens. But there are other ones that are, for example, with this one, I am with the band, Bonds of Minerva. I am with them since 2017, from the very beginning.
Oh, very
so
cool.
we are growing in
Yeah,
the
that's
day,
awesome.
work
That's
together.
the best case.
Yeah.
That's the best case scenario. What are your strengths? I'm going back to when you started the record label. I asked you, like, what gave you confidence to start a record label? What do you have as an entrepreneur or as a music fan or a curator? What is it in your DNA that makes you good at this job?
A lawyer?
You're a lawyer.
Yeah, well,
Oh, okay. That's great. That's a great start.
So, and I was representing some other people or sectors' interest.
Yeah.
And why not to apply this
Oh my
thing
gosh.
to music?
Oh my gosh. That's so true. Yeah. And musicians are all criminals anyway. That is, I mean, so you're an advocate. You gave a voice to other people and fought for them, I suppose. And I never really have seen the parallels before between a lawyer and a record label owner, but gosh, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, because at the end you have to know your client.
Yeah.
What is the interest they have? What is and also the strategy to go somewhere or to get something?
Yeah.
Just to make a plan and just going this way, and also prepare yourself with a lot of information.
It can't be underestimated how important it is, because artists are not good at making a plan and getting prepared and getting organized. That's not generally what a creative person does. So that is like I feel like that's one of the attributes of a lot of label owners, is people who are good at planning the future and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And also I think the artists are here for doing that.
No, that's right. Yeah. Now, the money isn't the same between being a label owner and a lawyer. That's where it gets different. You don't make as much money as a label owner.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about vinyl, because there's the vinyl packages you have on your website are gorgeous, and they're very metal looking. I mean, metal is not minimalist. Metal is not like like you said, the names and the artwork is always so intricate and so well thought out, and it makes for really good looking vinyl records. And all the records you've done have been very colorful, and some of them have designs on the vinyl which look incredible. So tell me about vinyl and your audience and the fans of this type of music, and what role physical formats or specifically vinyl plays with your record label.
Yeah, well, you are totally right. Metalheads are they love vinyls. They love vinyls, but they also like special vinyls. So they bought a lot. Right now they are, that vinyls are everywhere, but even before the pandemics, metal people bought a lot of vinyls. And it's true that it's something that all the artwork is very much, is very cherished, is designed with a lot of, usually for their own bands. Maybe there is a member that is a designer or that like to improve.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
they like to draw, or so they are the band, one of the band, or one
Yeah.
person in of the
Yeah.
band that usually do the artwork. They are sometimes they just go, well, they contract themselves someone to do it. But yeah, it's a lot of, they do it with a lot of care, with a lot of taste, and it's a very complicated decision just to finalize the artwork, and not only the cover but also, as you say, the inside with the splatter. Right now, vinyls can be done so beautiful. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our listeners need to go and check out some of the work you've done, because there's this one gold record is gorgeous. Like, there's really, really good, and it's nice to know that there certain fans, metalheads, are particular and they like a good put together release. And I think that's really important, and I think it's important for label owners to know their audience and to know their genres and the demands, the expectations that they have. Because I think I've seen this pop up now in all genres, but it's popped up in metal too, where you can make a cover with AI. You can make something that is just, type in a few words, but it doesn't feel the same as some of the artwork on your website, and some of the artwork I've seen in metal, especially in the 2000s and beyond. Just spectacular work. There's an expectation for it.
Mm-hmm. And it's also for the proper
No,
band.
yeah.
The band themselves, they like to have this kind of their songs, their work. They want to have it like that. So
Yeah.
very much elaborated and they're prepared. So yeah, it's not only for the fans, but also for themselves.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's not an afterthought. I think artwork and records or physical format is sometimes an afterthought after the music is made. Some of these bands, I would imagine, are thinking about the artwork and the story and the cover and the lyrics all at the same time.
Exactly.
What about other formats? Like, I know that there's some metal labels that dabble in cassettes. I don't know what CDs are like in Spain or Europe, but what are there other formats that you explore with your label?
No, just that vinyls are the best sellers, but it's true that cassettes, we tried some years ago, but it was not so. But now it seems that at least in Spain is coming again, cassettes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool.
I have my doubts that that I am going to do cassettes, but CD sometimes. In general, we still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do them because the people that like metal music, usually after the shows, they go to the merch, to the stand, and they want to support the bands somehow. So t-shirts and vinyls are usually expensive. So for some people, so they buy the CD. Maybe they are not going to listen to it. It's something that happens also with vinyls. But with CDs, it's especially the case when they just want it just to support the band, to at least have something in return to the band.
That is so smart. I've heard of that from so many people. I've seen that to be true. I have experienced lately in the past 5 years or more that CDs aren't selling on Bandcamp. They're not really like people are preferring a digital download or a cassette or vinyl. Most of the time it's vinyl. But you're right. At shows, it's just, especially because, in North America, it's maybe $10, and I don't know what a CD would sell for you in euros, but like it's an easy purchase. It's just the same as tipping them, right? It's like, and I don't think anybody wants to just put money in a tip jar. I think they want to go home with some sort of souvenir. CDs are still really good for that.
Exactly. That's the game. And this is why we are still doing it. Yeah.
they're not too expensive to make anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. What is, you talked a little bit about co-releasing in the early days. Are you currently partnering with other labels? What does that look like?
I love it because right now, as I say, I am going to release something with an Italian colleague.
Yeah.
No, Italian, no, it's a Polish colleague. Well, it's interesting because, well, of course, you are just summing different two promotions, and also it's a way to understanding the other countries' way of doing things. And
Okay.
I like it. I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. And so if you were to release with a Polish label, how are you doing that? Are you guys splitting the expenses? Are they doing a specific color variant, or are they handling the digital, you handle the vinyl? How do you divide responsibilities?
It's a case by case scenario.
Okay.
We
Okay.
didn't decided if usually is we divide expenses and yeah, each one retains X copies. We are going from our way from them. No?
I mean, that's
sorry.
Yeah, that's like, why aren't more people doing that? It seems so smart to take, like taking a risk on a vinyl run is expensive because it's a couple $1,000s. But if you divide that in half, it's half the risk.
Exactly. If, for example, if sometimes digital is the own band that retains the digital release, they just upload in there directly to the digital platform. So yeah, and also part of the releases is being offered to the band as kind of royalties. So yeah. It's, as I say, it depends on the agreement. We just change because sometimes there is more of, because here in Spain I have some co-releases, and with 4 or 5 labels. This is more complicated to organize, I have to say, but yeah, sometimes it works.
Yeah. Well, and I guess doubling the promotion, doubling the advocates, the people who are talking about, we have their audience, we have them posting about it, and you're keeping each other accountable too.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's it's genius. I mean, we talk about co-releasing all the time. It's so cool. But I mean, to kind of divide the risk like that, of course you're dividing the profits, but who cares? It's better that you're dividing the expenses and the risk. What is the dream for the label in the future? What do you close your eyes and what does the label hopefully become in the next 5 years?
Well, I as I say, I would like to grow in quality, not in quantity.
Wow.
So, yeah, I would like to work with the bands, more narrow, in a more closer way with them, and to, as I say, not just releasing vinyls as such, but also just all the career, because I believe in bands that has a long-term strategy or vision, not bands that are just, as I said before, just give me my vinyl and to forget about me, or just the band is just split or just is gone away after the release of the vinyl. So I would like to work more profoundly with the bands, as I just, with all this experience, I also increase the knowledge about the industry and also how things are going. So just to put all this knowledge in the hands of the bands,
Well, that's amazing. And I just to touch on what you said there about the long-term investment into bands, I think it can be very, especially for most of our listeners, of most of the labels in our community, it's very discouraging and exhausting to always be promoting a brand new artist that nobody's heard of. That's probably the hardest thing that a label has to do, is to kind of convince people to check out an artist that no one's heard of, and to let, not even to buy the record, but just to even listen to it. And I think a lot of these labels haven't experienced how fun it is to release a second record or a third record or a fifth record for a band, and to actually to see when that a band will pick up 50 fans per album, and that every album that you do, even if the first one was just okay, the next one's going to be just okay, but a little bit better. And so 5-10 years later, which is so hard for people to see that far and to have patience, you're going to release a record and you're going to have 200, 500, 1,000 people who are very excited that this record is coming out.
Yes,
and just so many new labels don't get to that point. I don't know if they don't stick with it. Of course, bands don't last that long, but
yes,
it's a beautiful thing to be able to work with a band for more than one album.
Yeah, it's exciting. But also there is also another difficult things to do, is just to let them go when you are small, too small for them.
Yeah.
Because they are growing so much that, well, it's not, well, you have to be generous and let them go, or even help them to go with another major, or not major, or at least a greater, with a base structure or a base support. But as I say, it depends, because you can be the head of the mouse or the tail of the lion. I don't know. Because when you are the head of the mouse, it's okay, because well, it's a small company, but you are the head of this. But if you are going, you can be greater, or you can be, I don't know, more successful, but you are going to be the tail of the lion.
I got to write that down, because I'm going to put that in the description of this episode. I've never heard that expression before. It's beautiful. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I've never heard that before. It's great. Yeah, that is so great. And you say that you have to be generous to let an artist go onto the next label, the next level. But it's not just generosity. That's a big part of it, but it's maturity. You've got to have self-confidence, self-assurance because it seems insulting. It seems like a slap in the face when they leave you, but it's not. It's natural. It's like a mother letting their baby bird fly. It's
exactly the same.
Yeah. In closing, I want to ask you, I love what you've done. I want to ask you what advice you have for people who, I can't tell you how many people, there's 4 or 5 people every single day who email me who are thinking about starting a record label. They are like you in 2017, or even before, when you were first getting into things. What advice do you have for them? Maybe what advice do you have to yourself back in 2017?
I would like to have something that I had years later, that is a kind of mentorship. So just to go to someone that is already there, and has passed the first steps and is in the half the way, just to illuminate you, or to give you some ideas. So I think the other's experience is key for you to start something.
That's a great idea. I don't know how many people would have the confidence to email a label, not necessarily like a massive label, but to email a smaller independent label who's only 5 years old, who has 5 years of experience or 8 years of experience, and to say, can you mentor me? Maybe you pay them, maybe you offer something in exchange, or maybe you just come to them humbly and say, can we meet once a month for a year or once a quarter? I know it's a tough ask and everybody's busy. But I guess maybe I would say to more label owners listening and to people like you to look for ways that you can be open to that and to be a mentor. Because it doesn't take an expert. It just takes somebody like you who've experienced 8 years of running a label. You are an expert.
Well, right now I can say yes, kind of,
Yeah,
because of the experience and the practice. Yeah, for sure. Because it's about that. It's just knowing, and it's changing because you have to know the scenario, where are the tendencies of music, and now it's changing so fast. So you have to be just like them.
Well, Nuria, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Congratulations on your label. I think what you have is amazing. Your records look beautiful. Anybody listening who's a fan of metal probably already knows you, but should definitely check you out. But thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
No, thank you so much, Scott, really, for having me, because you are like a guru for me. You really illuminate my way. So thank you so much for having me. It was really, really a pleasure.